Well, you're never too old to start something new. I didn't start my business until I was 55 years old. My name is LaVonne Falbo, and this is my advice. I got fired from my job, and I knew at that time it was finally time for me to do something that I wanted to do, something creative. And so I began my business doing in home design in 2014. And then my business started to grow, so then I needed some space to work. So I decided to open a studio. And in order to make sure that I had the money to pay the rent, I got vendors involved. So that's how the retail end of it started. And then I started Rustic Bridal and Event Rentals. So basically, renting my junk to people for their weddings, their outdoor weddings and barn weddings, that type of thing. And that's still a popular thing. I do classes and I sell paint and all the good stuff you need to be creative. So, yeah, just starting late in life was kind of a good thing because all of the experiences that I had kind of was a good marriage of, the way to manage people, to do paperwork, um, just all the retail things that you need to have in your toolbox to have a business. So I know Julia Child didn't start. She didn't even go to school till she was 39, and she became a world-renowned chef and had a TV show and everything. So it's never too late to get started. I love to repurpose things, upcycle. Repurpose is my favorite word. So I'm always looking at something and thinking what else it could be. And many times, whenever I'm trying to build something or I need something, whether it be for a client or for myself, I lots of times I'll think, well, I know I can buy that, but do I have anything that would suffice for that? And many times that is where the cool factor comes in because the repurposed thing, fortunately, is in vogue right now. But it's also very green, so we need to not throw so many things away. So finding ways to repurpose them, that's really basically what my business is all about, and also just how I live my life. One of the pieces of advice that my father passed on to me was to taste your words before you spit them out. And I have found that to be a really valuable life lesson, not only in business, but in personal relationships. There's many times when you say something and you can't take the words back once they're said. And you might hurt someone's feelings, or you might keep yourself from getting a promotion or a raise. They're just things you just have to think about what you're saying. Just take that extra second before you respond. So, one of the things that is important to me and something I live by is not to give up. Whenever I'm doing a project for a client or something for myself, many times I've been commissioned to do something and I have this one upcycled thing that I'm using and it has to work. So if things don't go well, it's very tempting to stop what you're doing and just give up. And that's okay if it's something that maybe you're making a dress or whatever and it doesn't work out. So, yeah, that's okay if you want to live with that, but challenge yourself to make it work. It's worth it to undo a little and redo a little until you get it right. Save some of your money. That's a tough lesson to learn when you're young. Uh, some people get it naturally and they just are savers. And other people, my mother used to tell me, it burns a hole in your pocket. And that's kind of how I lived until I started to realize that it's life's a little bit better when you plan a little bit more financially. It's not all about money. Um, People say money's the root of all evil and money can't buy happiness, but I have found that I'm a lot happier when I have it than when I don't have it. So if you can't really, if it seems like too much to save for, say, college or retirement, then try to think 6 months in advance and just begin to develop that habit. And before you know it, it is a habit, and then you can think to save a little bit more for loftier goals. One of my favorite things is mentoring. I have some kids that come in my shop and work, and sometimes it's almost keeps me from doing my work to take the time to show them what to do to help me. In the long run, it all comes together. They know what they need to do, and I get the best feeling from knowing that I taught someone a skill, or helped develop a talent of theirs that they might not have even realized was a talent of theirs. So, mentoring is a really good thing if you can give of your time and talent to help someone else discover their own. If it's worth doing right. So you can put something together and you can say you're satisfied with it when you know there might be a few things that could be improved upon, but people will appreciate your work and you'll, get more work if you're looking for commission work if things look good. So, I was doing a shelf for a customer the other day and I walked away from it, and when I turned around it looked a little wonky to me, so I ended up deconstructing pretty much the whole thing and reconstructing it. I had to recut some boards. I realized they were off, so it's there's no point in doing something if you're not going to do it right. You can say you did it for the experience, but you want to be proud of what the result is, so it's worth doing right. I feel like it's important to take time to do things that make you happy. So if that's listening to music or gardening or just appreciating something, maybe taking a drive to your favorite place, just to drink in the beauty. That is what you need in life to feed your soul, especially if you are in the creative business, or just in general. If you don't ever take the time to appreciate the beauty in life, then you might become miserable. If you just see, cement and computer screens and things like that around you, no windows, no light, if that's your existence, then maybe you need to just open the door and get outside and try something a little different. But I always love gardening because I think gardening teaches you patience. It teaches you a lot about the cycle of life, and it's just such a thrill to plant something and watch it grow. Or if it doesn't grow, then to understand why it didn't. So, and that's a nice also opportunity for journaling to mark the seasons, and it's nice sometimes to be able to look back on those things and then you remember more. It just evokes some memories that you might have forgotten. Sometimes just like a look at a flower or a smell or something will bring back those memories. Sometimes the material things that we gather, they really aren't that important, and it's true that you can't take things with you. And when someone's in need, to give them something, sometimes you might stop and ponder on that thing and think, well, this is really sentimental. This was my mom's or my dad's, but I feel like you honor that person by giving it to someone who needs it. Could be a Bible. And if you think, oh, this was my dad's Bible or something, and I hold on to it and it sits in a box and it doesn't do any good, but if I give it to someone and they read it and they use it and it helps them, then I'm doing a better service to my sentimentality by giving. So I really believe that if you do what you love, you never work a day in your life. And I find that so much to be true. There are times when I make myself a little crazy by overscheduling myself and all the things that are going on, but I realize that's my own madness and it's okay. It's self imposed, and if I want to slow it down a little bit, I can. And I think that's a good thing. But yeah, I think it's just when you do what you love, your life is much happier. So if you can, uh, work towards getting away from 9 to 5 or whatever doesn't make you happy, and do what you're good at if you can. If you can't right away, make plans to perhaps get to that point. Well, I hope some of the life experience, tidbits of knowledge that I've gained through the years are helpful in my sharing them to you. And I wish you the best in your endeavors and that you take advantage of advice whenever you hear it from anyone.